LSD. Like the secretary is actually there, sitting there typing, but and they all had a great experience. That's the funny thing because they had never had any bad. Today, when we take LSD, we have so much discourse about LSD in our mind automatically. They didn't have that. They just took strangely named substance like LSD 25. They took like 50 micrograms. And they wrote down. I write about this in Trip. For the first time, I feel connected to my fellow human being. Some looked out and saw the clouds and like had like ideas about connectivity and how we are part of the universe. Basically, like these kind of hippie LSD thoughts that we classically associate with that, they had them like very purely, like from that they just had them. So this was all noted down, and then they were thinking. And this was in 1943. Imagine the situation in Europe in 1943. It's at the height of World War II. People are dead, injured, traumatized. So they thought at Sandoz, maybe this is gonna be like a blockbuster, We give this. Then they tested it also on sick people in a hospital in Zurich. They gave it to like a depressed patient. I also studied these reports, like the depressed Swiss farmer, like chronically depressed. He takes LSD and he took it like 3 times, and they released him out of the psychiatric ward because he was cured. He was good. He said, "I'm fine. I'm not depressed anymore." So Sandoz really thought they had a blockbuster. They thought LSD is going to be the big thing. And the big question obviously is what went wrong. That is what interested me in Trip. What happened? Because also why I researched LSD, and I had been interested in LSD for a long time, but then I decided to write a book and I researched it, and I found a study by a company called Eleusis, which is an American company, their name referring obviously to the Greek ritual. And they had done low dosage tests with LSD on Alzheimer patients, and they found that the very same receptors that Alzheimer degenerates and kills, these receptors are being stimulated by LSD. So their study, which I then discussed with a leading Alzheimer researcher in Germany, and he also is looking at this white paper, he said, "This is actually quite good." And I said, "So when is it going to happen?" He said, "Well, this is a bit more complicated than you think, because LSD is illegal. It's not even in America. I guess you have like universities can do research, but this is also a new thing. When Nixon illegalized LSD in 1966, all the research was legalized, so you couldn't even research whether it's as dangerous as the government said it would be. So let me just finish this thought. I bring this white paper to my father because my mother suffers from Alzheimer, and I'm saying to him, "I'm writing this book, as you know, and I found this, and shouldn't we have a look at this?" Because he takes care of my mother, and he's quite frustrated that there's no potent medicine available to him, that his doctor basically says, "Sorry." And he's a former judge. He was quite a high judge in Germany. He sent people to prison for drugs. So for him to even consider giving an illegal drug to his wife is a big leap for him. But, he's a rational thinking man. So he looked at this white paper, he studied it, and he said, "You know what? In court, when I was in court as a judge, you don't know what is the truth, but you know what is a good story, like a credible story. That's how I determined as a judge what I believe. If someone tells something that rings true to me, and right now I'm having a study that LSD is helpful, but also I'm having the law that it's illegal. Can you please find out the true story now? What is LSD? Why is it illegal?" So from that point onward, I did the research that is in Trip, which was supposed to be called LSD for Mom, actually. That was my working title for the book. And I think it's a better title.
It's a good title.
Yeah, it's a great title. So LSD for Mom, that was
who picked Trip? Did the editors pick Trip?
My German editor didn't want LSD for Mama, which is the German translation, which I think is the perfect title. It's even better in German, LSD for Mama. He somehow convinced me to use a different title in Germany, and this is translated to many different countries, and they always go to the German. If the Germans would have called it LSD for Mama, it would be called LSD for Mom in America, LSD pour Maman in France. but because in Germany a different title was chosen, the strongest stuff, which is a little bit different in German, der stärkste Stoff, then every country was like thinking, how should we call it? And I guess they called it Trip because of the success of Blitz. They wanted to have, but I think LSD for Mom is a better title.
I like it.
Yeah, it's great. Because it's true, I was then really researching for my father and my mother, and I came back after all this research with the Swiss company and the Nazi connection, which we'll come to, I guess, in a second. I came back to my father and I presented him this story, and then he decided to actually try it because he said, I understand now that LSD is not illegal because it's dangerous, that there are different reasons why it's illegal, and these different reasons I explained in the Trip. So we spoke obviously to my mother also, because you have to get consent. So she gave her consent, and she started using LSD once in a while, not chronically, obviously, but like twice a week, or maybe the next week only once, only low dosages. And my father also took them. He never felt anything, because a microdose, you're not supposed to feel a trip or an intoxication. It just works in your brain. But my mother actually did feel it because her brain is attacked by Alzheimer's. So for her, that was like, her cheeks became redder. She would look at us. One time, we also then did mushrooms, which is a very similar molecule. Actually, psilocybin is very similar to the LSD molecule. On Mother's Day, we gave her a little piece of mushroom chocolate, and she took it, and there was a newspaper on the table, and she hadn't even looked at newspaper as an object of desire for her for about a year. My father then later told me. And she picked up the newspaper when the chocolate was working and started reading the headlines. And my father was like, this is a medicinal miracle. And my father's really like a rational, skeptical guy, but it was amazing. So that is also what I write about in Trip, AK LSD for Mom.
Well, it's so fascinating. There's so many people suffering from Alzheimer's in the world, and it's illegal basically everywhere except for countries like Portugal that decriminalize everything. But yeah,
I mean, dementia is like the pandemic of the future, if I want to use that ugly word, pandemic. But to not allow our scientists to examine this properly. For example, in the pandemic, a lot of during the pandemic, like regulations in regards to developing medicines and vaccines especially were lowered because the government, the society wanted a vaccine quick. But so this is what has to happen with psychedelics now, because we are moving, like in 2050, I read the numbers, they're also in the book, like a lot of people will have dementia. Like we will all know someone, or we'll have it ourselves, or it's going to grow exponentially, or at least a lot. So I think our society should actually shift its focus towards preventing that, because when I spoke to the Alzheimer expert, he said, yeah, of course this could be, you could prevent Alzheimer if you would know like how to stimulate the brain. And so far,
by 2050, 153 million people are expected to be living with dementia worldwide, up from 57 million in 2019 rather, largely due to population growth and population aging. Don't they believe that Alzheimer's has something to do with diet as well? Isn't that what they're calling type 3 diabetes?
Yeah, and I think it could be true. I mean, the reason for Alzheimer is, you have to see it separately from the cure. The reason, I think, I've come actually to the conclusion that sugar is quite bad for you, and I was quite a sugar addict. I really was. Like, I could not put down a bar of chocolate. I could not eat one piece. I just couldn't, because I love it so much. But then I just realized it's not good, and I stopped it, and it's actually possible to stop. I eat like a little bit, and it's actually no problem. So I think, well, there's a few reasons for dementia. One is also the so-called neuroinflammation of the brain, and that could be caused obviously by sugar, by imbalances in the sugar diet, I think. And the inflammation of the brain, and that is scientifically proven, is being decreased if you take psychedelics. So if you take psychedelics, every time you take psychedelics, your neuroinflammation goes down. So that is something that needs to be examined. Like maybe we should all take maybe once a week a low dosage of, let's say, LSD or psilocybin. Maybe we could prevent like 50% of dementia. I mean, I think it's quite plausible, and I think not to look into it is not very smart by society because the costs of dementia, I mean, the human costs. My father suffers quite a bit. My mother, obviously, she has the disease, she suffers. Family suffers. If someone in the family has Alzheimer's, the whole family suffers. And of course, our medical system is very expensive to treat dementia, like put them in homes, whatever. So I think we're making a big mistake by not examining this.
Absolutely. Well, it's just a stunning amount of ignorance on our part. All the, at least anecdotal evidence of the positive benefits of some of these things, particularly in microdose usage.
Well, it's just not a focus of politicians.
Right.
Like to legalize drugs has not become a very popular meme among politicians in the 20th century. This is also what I examined in Trip. I kind of looked at where did it actually start? Where does this prohibitionist approach come from? Because it's kind of weird. As a child, I watched Star Trek. It was an American TV show, even on German television. It was called Raumschiff Enterprise in German, like Spaceship Enterprise. And I was always very touched by the beginning when they say boldly go where no man has gone before. Like that was for me the American, like the Western philosophy to always transcend where you are, and that totally contradicts our prohibitionist policies. Um, it's like a chemical wall that the government is setting up in our brain, saying like you can go this much with stimulating your brain, but you're not allowed to go further. Like you're not allowed to use LSD, which does stimulate the
What's so great?
HTA receptors. You're not, I think it contradicts the Western philosophy, and actually also I think it contradicts the idea of democracy, which I always, was hot for. I grew up in a small town in West Germany, which was actually occupied by American forces. So I was very much connecting with American culture early on, and I always associated Western culture with freedom and transcendence and boldly going where no man has gone before. That is for me the strength of the West, and that is what this is, for example, not what Islam offers. Islam says you're not allowed to intoxicate. You can only believe in this. You cannot go further. This is actually the problem of all monotheistic religions. But for me, the West was always going beyond that. So I was curious, how did this happen, this prohibition? Like, who was there one person that decided, no, people cannot use this anymore? And there actually is one person, and his name is Harry J. Anslinger. I'm sure you're familiar with the guy. So I for trip, I also went to the Harry J. Anslinger archives at Penn State University, which was quite interesting because you can see in the archive and in the way like it smells and what he collected and the letters he wrote and the language he used. It's a very closed mindset. And he was actually able to convince Democratic and Republican president. He was like he was bipartisan basically. So his anti-drug regime that he was able to create, and he created it because the alcohol prohibition failed, and his Federal Bureau of Narcotics was about to be extinct because he had completely failed with the alcohol prohibition. And then he thought, I have to find a new enemy, and the new enemy for him was actually cannabis, and he coined the word marijuana because marijuana sounds foreign, it sounds Mexican, it sounds something that we don't want in our clean white American society.
Well, it was a Mexican wild tobacco. It was slang for a Mexican wild tobacco. It wasn't cannabis.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So That is so basically what we could say is that, and unfortunately, Anslinger was quite a racist. He was like he openly used words to describe Afro-American colleagues that shouldn't be used by white men, I guess, in like memos. This went all the way up to the president. So, but they always kept him because he was the man that defends America from the scourge of foreign influences, which is drugs in this case, from China, the opium, from Mexico, the marijuana. So he was very good politician, basically, like an anti-drug lobbyist that everyone in Washington loved. And so the reasons for the prohibition in America is not that this Anslinger was actually studying LSD and finding out that this is actually dangerous and or marijuana is dangerous. That's we really, even though we're free in our society, we have to we have to curb this. We have like this is not how it went. It's like he wanted to attack the jazz scene, and he knew that the jazz musicians were smoking a lot of weed. So he's it's very hard to make it illegal to play jazz, but you can make marijuana illegal, and then you can target jazz musicians. So this is kind of racial profiling.
Why would they go after jazz musicians?
He hated jazz. He thought that I think he had a I think it's a sexual thing actually. Because he actually said once, when black men smoke reefer, they think they're as good as white men and they're going to sleep with our women or something like that. Like that was kind of the world that he was.
So was it because the jazz musicians were on stage and people loved them? They were cool.
Yeah. And so they were only cool because they smoked the weed. That gave them that diabolical power, like over the audience and like the groove. And if you take the weed away from them, they're going to be like boring people. So that guy really did a lot of damage in my mind to the American society.
It's just stunning that 90 years later we're still dealing with the aftermath of that. And also in conjunction with his union with William Randolph Hearst.
Yeah,
William Randolph Hearst, who owned Hearst Publications, had a vested financial interest in keeping marijuana illegal or making marijuana illegal because of hemp, right? The little story about the decorticator.
Yeah, you're talking about the wood now?
No, decorticator was a device that was manufactured. It was created in the early 1930s, and it was on the cover of Popular Science magazine. When they called it, they said hemp, the new billion-dollar crop of the future.
Right.
So because hemp was a very difficult plant to take the fiber and convert it into paper and convert it into textiles and things like that, they used slave labor for the most part until the cotton gin came along. When the cotton gin came along, that became more effective to use cotton than to use hemp. It was easier. Then in the early 1930s, they came out with the decorticator. The decorticator was this machine. See if you could get a version of that, Jane. So the decorticator allowed them to effectively, that's the decorticator. So this machine, they would run the hemp stalks through it, and it would break them down far more economically, much easier, more effectively than the way they would do it by hand previously.
Oh, right.
So hemp, the new billion-dollar crop. So hemp, find the cover of that magazine. So hemp was a far more effective paper. It's much more durable. Like if you take hemp, very difficult to tear. In fact, the earliest drafts of the Declaration of Independence were on hemp. So this the billion-dollar crop. So this was Popular Science magazine. And William Randolph Hearst didn't just own Hearst Publications. He also owned paper mills. So he had thousands and thousands of acres of trees and forests that they were converting into paper. And now all of a sudden there was this new product that was going to destabilize his industry. And so
hemp is a disruptor.
Exactly. So when they made marijuana illegal, a lot of the people that were voting on this didn't even understand they were making cannabis illegal. They didn't understand that it was the same thing.
Yeah.
They didn't understand that it was the same literal textile that created canvas. All the great works, like if you look at, Leonardo da Vinci's paintings, it's on hemp, it's on canvas, it's on cannabis paper. It's on a very durable form of paper. Have you ever touched cannabis paper, like hemp paper? It's crazy. It's really hard to tear. My friend Todd McCormick, he was a early grower in Los Angeles when marijuana was medically legal, and he wound up going to jail because in federal court you couldn't say that it was for medical purposes. They just prosecuted him based on the fact that he was a drug dealer instead of someone who was legally in the state of California growing medical marijuana. He had a stalk on his table of hemp. I don't know if you've ever felt a hemp stalk. You ever picked one up?
Yo, pimp.
Crazy. It's
How
like
you living?
You pick it up. It feels like nothing, but it's hard, like oak, but it's not heavy. It's very strange. It's like an alien plant. Very, very weird. So that stuff converts incredibly to clothing. You can make building materials out of it. There's a hempcrete.
Yo, pimp.
That is this incredibly
What's going
effective building
How
material.
you living? That's what I'm talking about. We got a party now. What's up? Hey, what's going on? How are you? I'm kicking ass, taking names. Here, let me see if this one's better. I'm kicking ass, and I am taking names. All right, just a moment. Okay, can you hear me now? I was saying I'm doing well. How are you? How'd you find out about me? Go ahead. Excellent. Am I gay? No. Okay. Am I a femboy? No. United States? Correct. Well, welcome, Poland. Child. I stream my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Just one moment. Let me adjust my. Let me adjust my microphone. Excellent. Can you hear me? Excellent. Well, I want to welcome you to my stream. I'm Rabbi Rothschild. I stream my life 24/7, 365 for world peace. I've been doing so for more than 2 years. It's the biggest event in global history. It goes back to the pandemic. We've seen the death of a queen, the birth of AI, the coronation of a king, and everything in between. Welcome. Can I tell you what we talked about? Sure. I've been banned on. So I have over 5,000 kick accounts. I also have over 1,000 TikTok accounts, and I have over 2,000 Twitter accounts. If you want to see me live on YouTube right now, on in this Discord, in the upper left, you will see the option of 24/7 YouTube streams. It says exactly dun, 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 24/7 live YouTube streams. If you click this link, 24/7 live YouTube streams, you click that. There's a link in there. How many what? Yeah, I have like 100. Correct. No, I like it. I stream my life for world peace. I don't want war anymore. No, no, I am a certified project management professional, and I have built apps on the App Store and Google Play. Yeah, I live off my savings. I do. I have over 500 VCs, and if you click on the VC in the chat, you'll see each one of them has some information in it. Okay. No way. Let me take a look. Okay. Excellent. Okay, I'm looking. Yes. So that's perfect. That's my chat. Or that's I created a clip bot. That's right. It worked perfect. It worked. Um. Well, let's see. So I have a robot that does all this for me. So let me show you my robot. I have four. I have four robots. Right? Just one moment. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So what do these robots do? They promote me. So what's it doing here? It's spamming. You're gonna see this pink pointer, and what it's gonna do, it is currently spamming this person. And you can see I've got four things devices. Not only that, I have many devices. I have 33 devices at a time. So what's it do? It goes to the front page. It finds the most popular just chatting people, and then what it's doing is it goes to the top most popular people, and it will open their channel. What's it going to do after it opens their channel? It is going to, just a moment, look at just one. It is going to follow them. I'll show you how it does that. It's very, very interesting. If you're like, oh, is it alive? No, but it just can recognize pictures very, very well. So that's what makes it better than anybody. And here's what you, so like my hands are here. I mean, you can see I'm doing some hands free. So what you're going to do, it's going to recognize the follow button. Just one moment. It's going to press the follow button in approximately 3, 2, 1, boom. Just press the follow button. And then what it creates, which is what you just saw. So what's it do? It creates it, and in the description it puts it puts Discord, and that's how you. Yeah. People. Oh no, not that one. How much you choose? Thank you. Absolutely. Hey, listen, I want you to know I love Poland. I love you guys. Anytime you guys ever need anything, you come here. I'm always live. So if you're bored, come here. I have people come all the time, and excellent. Well, I'm going to make it so that you can come here someday and live, if that's what you want to do. Excellent. Well, pleasure to meet you. Take care. Bye-bye. God bless you. Shout out to those. Very, very nice. You.
LSD and DMT, and then he put them in, like, examined their brain scanners, imaging, like high-tech imaging technology, and he found that actually that you can actually measure it. Or you can see the changes that happen in psychedelics. And what happens is that the so-called default mode network, that's
There he is. Yeah, I was just typing to you. Hey, I just got your message. Hey, do you talk? Do you talk? It's okay if you don't. I see that you're a professional moderator and you keep the community active and also answer questions. Welcome. Hello, hello. Are these my Polish friends? Hey, shout out to Polish. I see that you're a professional moderator. You keep the community active and also answer questions. You create memes, stickers, and gifts, and shilling. You really want to be a part of my project. You're the person who sent me a link on top. Okay. Do you know what I do? Let me just ask you that. Do you know what I do? If you know what I do, I'm amazing. If you don't, well, then ask and I'll tell you what I do.
And it's constantly kind of moving the brain, And neuroplasticity describes that ability to constantly adapt to, like, the situation, and be flexible, make new connections. That's neuroplasticity. And he could also measure that neuroplasticity is enhanced when you take psychedelics. That's why also it could become dangerous if it's enhanced too quickly and you're not experienced. I mean, Joe Rogan experience. We're all experienced. Hopefully, we're an experienced audience. But if you're not experienced, it could be too much. Then the stimulation of your brain, or the change of disruption of your day-to-day way of thinking, could be overwhelming. If you handle it properly, it's actually that's I guess what's the beneficial aspect of the psychedelic experience. You enhance neuroplasticity in a way. I don't know if becoming smarter is the right term. What is smart? What is intelligence? But it's the fact that neuroplasticity is enhanced, and because of this kind of orthodox thought forms, like depressed people always think the same thing, like I'm not worthy, I can't, depression is a loop, or loops in your brain. LSD, especially psilocybin, they do not that, because other parts of the brain suddenly come into play, and the default mode network has this disease of depression suddenly isn't calling the shots anymore. That's why psychedelics have proven effective against depression. A study that showed, this clinical study was done in 2015, actually in America, at Johns Hopkins University, that psilocybin helps against very severe depression when nothing else helps. So we know a little bit about what happens in the brain. Like, it's why so many scientists, when LSD came out in the late 40s and early 50s, especially in America, were enthusiastic. They thought, finally we have a tool with which we can, shine like a torch shining into the black box of the brain, because it works in such small quantities. There was actually a lot of hope in the beginning. That original enthusiasm high standards that I talked about, and they thought we have a game changer, we have a blockbuster, that everyone will become, will heal from LSD. That many scientists actually believe that. And the interesting question is, and we're like making a long circle of what went wrong. Why wasn't it developed into a medicine that you can get at your dispensary, like you can get cannabis products now, for example, in the state of California. Why?
Here too, which is weird.
Okay.
You get it, like I said, there's different deltas. So we can get legal cannabis and sell it.
Society is still very insecure when it comes to drugs because we have been bombarded with the drugs are horrifically dangerous. This propaganda.
When I was in high school, this is your brain on drugs. It was just say no. Nancy Reagan. Yeah, everyone was just saying no.
I was also in American high school. I graduated from Flint Powell's Catholic High School in Michigan, class of '88. And I had been taught, because I was sent from Germany as a German exchange student, I was taught before, don't mix with the drug people. There will be drug people at the high school, and they will approach you, and they will try to draw you in, and then you won't get out again. And I really believed that. I mean, I was like,
well, there are people like that. That is true. If you fall into the crowd, if you fall into the crowd of people, right? Weed is very different, but the problem is the blanket term, right? The blanket term of drugs.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah, but also if you fall into a crowd in high school, it's very possible that you'll fall into a crowd of ne'er-do-wells who will ruin their lives, and they just get high all day, and they wake and bake, and they abuse it. Just like you can abuse sugar, right? Just like you can abuse alcohol.
I actually think that cannabis is a dangerous drug because it is quite addictive.
Yeah, it can be.
Unlike LSD, LSD is not addictive. LSD is actually, the guy who invented AA, he himself had made an LSD therapy and got away from alcohol using LSD, and he wanted to incorporate LSD therapy into the AA program and then didn't do it because I guess there was pressure. We'll come to the pressure in a second. So LSD is not an addictive drug. That's, for example, in Germany now we legalized cannabis. It's legal everywhere in the country. I think they should have legalized LSD and not cannabis, because cannabis is actually harder to use. I think it should be legal. I think it's good that it's legal, but I think it's a little bit of a more problematic drug actually to legalize because it's also so easy to use. But to legalize LSD, which is like, I think it should be legalized, all over the world, because I think it's a brain food. That's what I think. I've been studying it, but saying this sounds like completely outrageous. LSD, like so many people are afraid of it. So I hope with Trip to take a little bit of the edge off, to actually show where it comes from. And I would like to tell that story where it comes from.
Yeah,
but maybe because that's the core story. Because when I had found these SS records that they had used, because you asked before, was there another psychedelic substance? Yes, there was mescaline. Mescaline was already kind of investigated by scientists since the 20s. It was also a German scientist, Behringer. He was at the University of Heidelberg. He was really into mescaline, and he was like doing it with his students and making tests and how does it change consciousness and what happens. So he was basically one of the pioneers of psychedelic research, you can say. So the Nazis knew about mescaline, and the Nazis wanted to find a truth drug. Hitler was a paranoid person. He always thought, and it's actually true, that people are conspiring against him. There were quite a lot of assassination attempts on his life. He survived them all. But there were a lot of people who didn't like him. I mean, Germany was a totalitarian dictatorship, and most people supported Hitler. There were also people who did not. There were people in the resistance, even within, the army, who thought he was an idiot. High-ranking officers who were a bit more brilliant than him, and who knew that he was running things to the ground. So he gave order kind of truth drug. Like, it's the wet dream of intelligence. You give someone a substance, and then you can control that person. Right. You can extract secrets from the person. You can you can control a person. The Nazis, the SS, even with their torture methods, have been unable to extract all the secrets they wanted to extract from prisoners, especially Polish resistance fighters have been very resistant even against SS torture. Like they wouldn't say, "I got the job from the British intelligence," but they just wouldn't talk when you tortured them. So Hitler wanted this drug that would solve this problem. And one man that was in charge with this is a chemist called Richard Kuhn, who actually received the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. He was a brilliant mind, but he was a Nazi, so he didn't. Like many scientists left Germany, or writers left Germany when the Nazis took power. Some people stayed, some writers stayed, some scientists stayed. And this Kuhn actually became, he's really working for Hitler. He was developing a nerve poison, saline, which was deadly for Hitler. And if you work for Hitler as a scientist, obviously you got all the grants, you need the money, you had a great time. You sold your soul to the devil. So Richard Kuhn was in charge with finding the truth drug, and then the interesting thing is, because I was in the Novartis archive of Sundance, because I wanted to find the link between a Swiss pharmaceutical company who develops LSD and then the SS tests it in Dachau. Like, how did the SS know? Like, and did they really test LSD also in Dachau? It was just mescaline, because they write in the reports that have been found in the US, mescaline and another odorless, colorless substance was being used. And LSD is a famous odorless substance. Like, if you put a drop of LSD in your coffee, you wouldn't even notice it, which is good for intelligence service. You want to dose someone without that person knowing it. So LSD was kind of perfect. But how did the Nazis, did they actually know what LSD? Was it LSD? That was kind of what I wanted to find out. And when I was in the archive, I wanted to find like papers, like did they sell LSD to the SS? And I was curious to find something. And the archivist very skeptical of me because he sensed that I was onto something. Like, he was protecting basically the archive, because the archive is not a public archive. If you go to
what up, you gangsta motherfucker? How you living? Enzo, it's the wisdom.
Archivists want you to find information. They will feel like the find book, which has like it's a database, shows you everything that's in the archive. So you have it takes sometimes days or weeks.
Yo, can you hear me? Oh, excellent. Actually, just for a moment, I'll send it to you. How are you? Dog, I'm the biggest fan in global history. Just one moment. Enzo. This account that I just friend me. Friend me this account. Friend this account.
Okay, bro. Okay, no worries. It's okay, bro. Thank you.
Okay, did you friend it? Okay, I'll let you send it to me. But friend me.
This is my brother Arjun.
Friend me. Before you sing your song, friend me. Friend me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enzo,
Yeah, this one is
Enzo, friend me. Accept my friend. Add me as a
okay. Okay, I will.
What up, Heat Death Infinity Splitter, you motherfucker? Where you living?
Hey, I sent you message. Just tell that game.
Excellent. I got it. Join my
Okay, I will do. Bro, one more thing. When I check the group, I see you always in the live stream for the HPS.
correct.
So, what's the reason? I just want to know.
What?
Yeah, when I see you always on live stream.
Yes, that's correct. I'm always here. I've been in here for more than a year.
Okay, but when do you take dinner or lunch or breakfast? I see you always on live stream again and again every time.
Yeah, dog. I got food right here.
Oh, you're having now. Okay.
I do everything.
That's awesome.
Come to my Discord.
Yeah, I'm just creating my Discord account.
Okay,
I'm just creating.
so I'll wait for you. I'll wait. I'll wait for you. Heat Death. Let's hear it.
Hey, bro, want to sing a song for you?
Yes.
Yes. Huh? Okay, that's enough.
Amazing.
You're just Nobel Prize winner singer.
I loved it. Join the Discord. Join the.
Bro, give me 5 minutes.
I'll wait. I'll wait. Take your time.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
they say they're very pleasure to see you. Just say hi to them.
Hello. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
I'm fine. Nice to meet you, bro.
Pleasure to meet you. I shoot like 465. I'm always shooting all the time.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
You're welcome. Very
Fine, sir. Yeah. Okay. Wow, put again 93,950 members, Rabbi Rothschild. Okay, learning.
excellent.
And Rabbi Rothschild is old.
Shout out Shout out Enzo. Enzo.
I'm singing song. What do you take time to name? What do you video. Right. You can. Bro, it's time. Please say her why to come back to his wife. Please say to his wife. He's very sad, very emotional. He's very, he's trying to just want you to tell her and tell his wife to come back as soon as possible. Hello, bro.
What up, Pam?
Yeah. Just ask his girlfriend to come back.
Hey, here we go. Get them. Get that ass. Get over here.
Let's make it sweet. Let's get a beat.
Yo, Pam, are you coming to the
Bro, I'm still feeling that one. Boris.
All right. Creatine Cup. You focus on
Put it on the table of Stoll, and said, I want the world supply of LSD. Hereby buying the world supply of LSD. Using that, your supply, like his intelligence, I told him that Santos had to do something like that. It's in the book. I remember, like 4 kilograms. He said, I want to buy 4 kilograms. Like this, Stoll said, but so he grams that the mechanism in place that Stoll would always warm not up to the that's what to basically assure him. And of course, the payback with Sandoz can still sell all the medicine. America doesn't have problems with the FDA.
there. Yeah.
The pressure.
Is that Enzo?
And that
How you live? Yo, dog. How you living? Yo. Oh, there you are. Hold on. Enzo, how you doing, man? How are you? Excellent. I stream my life all day. I've been doing so well now for 3 years. This is the biggest event in global history. Yeah, exactly. So here's where you go to find me on YouTube. Go to go to in this Discord. Hold on a second. In this Discord, at the very top, you'll see it says browse channels, shalom, welcome, rule, announcements, 24/7 YouTube streams, 24/7 live YouTube streams. Go to 24/7 live YouTube streams and click that link, and you'll see all my streams on YouTube right now. Thank you. I'm always so whenever you're bored, Enzo, come in here and say hello.